Number 1, the child and dependent care credit can be claimed for expenses paid for the entire year, even though the child's 13th birthday was in October of the current year. Page 339, and that's false. You can only claim them up to the day before their 13th birthday. Okay.
You may qualify for the additional child tax credit, which is refundable when the child tax credit is more than your tax. What? You may qualify for the additional child tax credit, which is refundable. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it does.
It does? Okay, so it's true.
Yeah, so that's true. So the way that works is you figure your child tax credit, which is basically, for 99% of taxpayers, it's basically just $2,000 per child. But it's a non-refundable credit, so it's limited to the amount of your tax. Any that's left over can be converted to your additional child tax credit. But remember, there's those additional requirements, additional limitations, where there's $1,600 per child, and then there's also your earned income, subtract $2,500, and multiply the result by 15%.
Okay.
Number 3, Dan?
Which form is used to report the child tax credit and additional child tax credit?
Well, really, none of these are very correct.
That's what I was thinking. But the credit for qualifying children,
Well, the closest to correct out of these 4 possibilities is Form 1040. But if I were writing this question, I would have put Schedule 8821 as the correct answer. What is the maximum amount of expenses eligible for the child and dependent care credit for 2 or more qualifying persons? $6,000, yes.
Are we taking
Yeah.
Which of the following is a requirement for paying the credit for other dependents, ODC? A lot of these are right.
Well, this credit for the other dependents is a $500 credit for anybody that doesn't qualify for the child tax credit.
So they would be an adult.
They could be an adult.
Must have been between 1 year. You don't meet certain criteria. Is it C?
Yes, it's C. The dependent doesn't have to be under 17 years old. They can be any age. B is incorrect because you can claim someone as a dependent even if they don't live with you all year. And D is incorrect because they can be a U.S. citizen or U.S. national or U.S. resident alien, any of those 3. Okay. Number 6, Dan.
What is the age limit for child qualifying for the child tax credit?
8. It's under 17 at the end of the year. So maximum age of 16. The other 3, under 19, under 24, or no age limit, have to do with claiming someone as a dependent. But for child tax credit, they have to be under 17. Okay. Number 7, which test is not a requirement for a qualifying child under the child tax credit? And that is the gross income test. Remember, the qualifying child test is joint return, age, relationship, residency, and support. Gross income is not on that. Okay, number 8, Kat.
The following credits is based on having dependents. Tax credit.
Yes. All right. Dan, you get the tough one, or at least the long one.
John and Mary's three nephews, aged 12, 14, and 17, moved in with them on March 20th of the current year. John and Mary filed a joint tax return. Their taxable income is $7,960, and the tax on line 16 is $798. They have no other credits. John and Mary can claim child tax credit on line 9 of $798.
Yep. It's actually simpler than it looked because it's a non-refundable credit, so it can't be more than their tax. Okay, so they have three nephews, ages 12, 14, and 17. So they would have $2,000 child tax credit for each of these two, and $500 other dependent credit for the 17-year-old. So they would have $4,500 in child tax credit and other dependent credit. Then, so 4,500. They're going to use up 798 as their regular child tax credit, having 3,702 left over, which is basically answering question 10 now. What is the most John and Mary could claim as their additional child tax credit? So they're going to have 3,702 left over, but they're also capped at 1,600 per qualifying child under 17. So it's only down to 3,200 now. But we also have to, well, it doesn't say what their earned income is. So let's just assume, for purposes of this discussion, that they have $35,000 in earned income. So we would take their $35,000 earned income, subtract $2,500, multiply that result by 15%. It's 4,875. So the smallest of those three numbers, they're either their unused child tax credit of 3,702, their 1,600 per child of 3,200, or the calculation based on their earned income, which is 4,875. The smallest of those was 3,200, and so that's the amount. That's a typo. 3,200. That's the amount that they could claim as additional child tax credit.